Like?
Yeah, being an incel. Tell us, you were a pioneer in being an incel.
We made it through the show, so it was so civil.
Let's get the Friedberg ratio up.
Let's talk about an exciting scientific paper and the implications of it.
Let's go to science, boy. Tell us about this new study from Harvard that revealed Epstein-Barr virus could be associated with MS.
I'll do a zoom out, then a zoom in.
Yes,
so
please.
Bear with me for a moment. There are over 80 what are called autoimmune diseases. These are diseases where your body, your immune system attacks your own tissue and causes real problems. 1 in 20 people worldwide suffer from some sort of autoimmune condition. So Crohn's disease, lupus, which affects, your whole system, rheumatoid arthritis, where your joints get inflamed, Sjogren's syndrome, where your eyes and your mouth get messed up, and multiple sclerosis, which we'll talk about here in a second. But these are all diseases that have a similar etiology, which is that your immune system attacks some tissue in your body. It dysfunctions and it attacks it. And there's always been this big question about kind of what causes autoimmune conditions and what causes immune system dysregulation like this. And there's all sorts of different theories and studies and papers, many of which have been, well documented: genetic risk factors, environmental factors, age. And in particular, as you get older, the thymus, which is supposed to create these helper cells that go out and keep cells in your immune system from attacking your own body, your thymus kind of starts to fade away, your thalamus starts to fade away and stop working. And so, one theory that's been talked about a lot is molecular mimicry, which means that there's some protein from a virus or that enters your body or cancer, and that protein looks a lot like some other protein in your body. And so your immune system starts attacking that protein. And as a result, your immune system gets turned on to that protein, and it actually attacks a similar looking protein somewhere else in your body. And that's a very kind of broad statement about, some potential cause of autoimmune conditions. And you can find protein mimicry theories coming from the gut, where, microbes in the gut are triggering this. And then also viruses. So in particular, cytomegalovirus and Epstein-Barr virus, which we're going to talk about here today. So multiple sclerosis is this disease, one of the autoimmune diseases, where your immune system attacks and destroys myelin, which is, found on your nerve cells and in your brain. And it can actually cause, when this happens and your immune system starts to attack your brain, you end up with these lesions and really debilitating effects over time. 1 in 300 people in the US have been diagnosed with MS. It is a brutal disease. It lasts your whole life. And the treatment today, the primary treatment is this drug that destroys B cells in your body. And your B cells make antibodies. And so by destroying the B cells, it gets rid of the cells that are making the antibodies that are attacking your own brain. And this is a really effective treatment. It's been able to reduce the effects of MS significantly, but we still don't know what causes it and what triggers MS. And there's always been this theory, going back to the mimicry question, that one of these viruses that everyone seems to get as they, age is causing it. And so Epstein-Barr virus has always been thought to be one of those viruses. It's one of the herpes viruses. Everyone knows it as mono. So, you get mono and you get swollen neck. A lot of people do. Most people that get this virus don't end up having any symptoms. They don't even know they have it. And here's a crazy statistic. 95% of people have Epstein-Barr virus. And it's known that Epstein-Barr virus does actually cause some kinds of cancers and lymphoma and so on. So here's the paper that was published yesterday. And again, if you know that Epstein-Barr virus, is doing some other stuff in your body that's negative, shouldn't this be a reason to look at it for MS? But how do you get the data to do it, given that 95% of people already have Epstein-Barr virus? So here's what happened. These guys at Harvard went to the military, the US military, and the US military basically had 10 million members of the military take 62 million blood samples over a period of time from 1993 to 2013. And when they take these blood samples, they run their typical checkup on these people, on the military members, but they save some of the blood sample in a freezer. And so they've got 62 million blood samples sitting in freezers. The US military does. And so these researchers were able to access those blood samples. And they then found 5% of the people that don't have Epstein-Barr virus. Because remember, 95% of people have it. So they found the 5% that don't. And they went through and they found that during this period of time that they have all this blood data for, they were able to identify 800 people that started out Epstein-Barr virus negative and then got MS. 100% of the people that got MS were infected with Epstein-Barr virus during this period of time. And for the group of people that didn't get MS, only about half of them got Epstein-Barr virus infection during this period of time. And then they looked at this for about 20 other viruses and basically showed absolutely no correlation or difference in risk between all the other viruses if you got MS or didn't get MS. And so it basically creates a 95% probability that you're 32 times more likely to get MS from Epstein-Barr virus than from anything else. It is from a racially diverse pool, an age diverse pool, ethnically diverse pool. So a lot of other, confounding factors like race or ethnicity or genetics, a lot of other factors like all the other viruses that might be causing MS have been excluded. And it shows that maybe Epstein-Barr virus is the primary cause of MS that triggers certain people's immune systems to go nuts and attack the brain. And it's interesting because, Epstein-Barr virus has a bunch of proteins in it that look like other human proteins. So it makes sense why this might happen. MS costs $40,000 a year. There's $30 billion a year spent in the US on MS care. So if we can go in and get Epstein-Barr virus eliminated from the human body, it would be an incredible cost saving and a therapeutic benefit to people with MS.
You should talk about the reason why we don't have a herpes vaccine, though. So HSV 1, 2, 3, now 4, none of these things have reasonable vaccines, and it's for a very specific reason, which is that the herpes virus itself is incredibly, incredibly difficult to isolate and find until it activates. And it hides itself and it nests itself inside these nerve cells. So you may want to just talk about how complicated it is to produce it.
I mean, the DNA disappears into these nerve cells. And so it's hard to get, immune system to go and clear them out permanently. The Epstein-Barr virus hides out in B cells in your body. And so it's floating around in your body forever. And as your B cells replicate, the virus replicates with them. And then when your immune system starts to get weak, the virus pops out and it starts attacking and inflaming your body again. So number one, Epstein-Barr virus has never been a great target, a therapeutic target, because there's not much money to be made, because it's like, who the hell cares about mono? Once you get mono, you get over it, you're fine. But if Epstein-Barr virus is in fact causing this problem with MS, there's a reason to go after it, a lot of money to go after it. And there are several new technologies and therapeutic strategies that are possible, one of which is, Chamath sent out over our group text, a company that's doing T-cell therapies, where you can actually program a T-cell, and the T-cell goes into the body and finds these B cells with Epstein-Barr virus and wipes them out. There's a diuretic steroid that's been shown that's used to treat high blood pressure that's been shown to stop Epstein-Barr virus from leaving cells. There's an antiviral drug made by Takeda called Maribavir, which has been shown to have high efficacy in eliminating Epstein-Barr virus. So there are now therapeutic strategies that are being actively explored that could unlock the potential of minimizing or eliminating Epstein-Barr virus for a broader population than we ever thought should be taking these therapies. Because the implications may be that if you can stop Epstein-Barr virus from replicating or eliminate it from your body, you can stop all these follow-on diseases that occur over time in your life that are super debilitating and costly.
Yeah, lupus is another one tied to herpes simplex 4. I think the real problem is going to be that 2/3 of the adult population under the age of 55 have herpes simplex 4. So, you're literally talking about inoculating the entire world. And when we start to think about that grand of a scale, there's a cost issue, there's a manufacturability issue, and then there's an ROI issue that that will be adjudicated. And that to me is what really, stands out. And that is just the healthcare economics of it. Obviously, the science of it is still really complicated.
Aren't we doing an mRNA vaccine for Epstein-Barr? And how would that play into this?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of techniques. This is, T-cell therapeutics, mRNA, a chemotherapy type drug, a steroid drug, an antiviral drug. So every modality for therapeutics has some candidate or candidates for Epstein-Barr virus. And so, there may be a bunch of ways that you start to identify risk factors and that you give someone one particular therapy that might be really affordable, like this antiviral may be super affordable. If we could make it for 5 cents a pill, you could, get it out to a lot of people prophylactically that are at high risk. If there's a group that actually is active with MS, a good treatment may be to try and give them the T-cell therapy and see if that helps. And so that's the clinical trials that will start now, because if you can give people a T-cell therapy and eliminate EBV and stop all future need for MS treatment. That'll save 40 grand a year. It'll start to make sense to run clinical studies to see if that stuff's possible and is worth doing. So it opens up a whole new kind of area of interest. Now, by the way, this isn't novel. People have been talking about this for a long time, but this paper has such incredible data and such strong signal that it's really gonna catalyze investment.
If we didn't have the big data based on this study, we would not have gotten here.
For once on the show, I will say thank God for the U.S. government and all of the data that they've, all of these blood samples that they kept in freezers.
I want to get your read on the